All right, we are here. We have a guest.
Woohoo! We do. We have a guest. We did it. We booked somebody.
Yes. No. Who are you? Well, allow me to be your hype man for a second. Our guest today, she built her career leading marketing for companies like Netflix, Amazon, Apple, where her team brought the Apple Music Super Bowl halftime show to life, which is awesome. Before becoming Peloton's CMO in July of 2025, she's actually the fourth person to hold that title since 2020, walking into one of the most compelling brand turnaround challenges in consumer fitness. But her first year delivered 60 million, with an M, organic social views, a bold campaign. Bold is an understatement, called Let Yourself Go, that put Peloton back in the cultural conversation, and even a shout out from the CEO on an investor call. Oh, and by the way, she finished the Ironman World Championships in Kona while settling into the role. She does not swim against the current. She rides the wave. Welcome to Best Friends on Earth, my friend. Hi, Megan Imbres. How are you?
Hello, Matt. Good to see you. That was a great intro. Wow. Yeah. Oh, and you know what? I have to give a quick shout out to my old team at Apple because they just won a bunch of Cannes Lions, and I'm so proud of them.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the Bad Bunny halftime show, they did a beautiful job.
So. As they should. That was insanely amazing.
Yes.
It was.
Yes.
It was like all of the Easter eggs and everything. So great. And there's, by the way, before we get into this, I don't know if you've seen this, there is a video on TikTok and Instagram of this kid, this probably 10-month-old or something, who is crying, and every time Bad Bunny gets turned on, they just go going, just start dancing.
Are you sure it's not AI? Are you sure?
It's not. I saw it. I don't think it's fake. Yeah.
Okay.
This really doesn't look fake.
I don't know. But I feel like I've been got so many. My daughter's like, Mom, because I'll show her something. I'm like, look at this. And she's like, Mom, it's AI. Like, come on.
Okay, boomer, Mom. You know? Yeah.
No, it looked
it's like an okay boomer moment with the AI. Yeah.
It looked like real dancing, not like those random, like my cousin sent me one the other day. It's a dog swimming. I'm like, but swimming on the ground. I'm like Jody, dogs pause, they don't do that. That's clearly
they don't actually. Yeah.
They lack the structural ability to do that.
Yes. Structural integrity to make that work. Yes.
Exactly. Well, we're so excited, and we've discussed this.
This is such a cool thing. So thank you for having me. I'm honored.
Well, thank you for supporting it. And as we've discussed, I am a Peloton stan. Almost every day I'm doing something, whether it's fitness or yoga or Pilates or on the bike, as does my better half. And it has really
I need to know the favorite instructors.
Oh, okay. So, I would say tops for me that I use the most, definitely the two incredible ones from the campaign, Tunde and Adrian, a lot. Rebecca Kennedy has kicked my ass more times than I can count. I also love, I'm Canadian. Shout out to Katie Wong, love Katie.
So
and also gratitude. I have gratitude for Greta, who's doing cool things over there. And then, I will say a lot of love for Rad and Camilla too. Have had so much fun. Rad has destroyed me many times. Oh yeah. Rad is under the radar tough.
It is. So now that I know them, it's funny because
but he's so kind. He's so nice.
I'll reach out to them and I'm like, that class what were you doing? What were you trying? Who hurt you? I will bring them shit, because it is sometimes they just go for it and you just, it's one of those things. When Robin wears yellow.
Robin. Yes. When Robin wears yellow, shit gets real.
It's going down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she's staring at you in the camera, and I'm like, oh, she looking at me. I better get to it. No, it's fun. It's
so
really
kind, but I do hate them sometimes. I was in the hotel gym this past week, and I was like, oh man, Matt Wilbur, really? What are you doing to me, bro? It can be intense.
I know my former CMO or CEO, Andre, would do like those 2-hour Wilberts rides. And I'm like,
that's what I
don't
do.
understand.
I've done every single one. Yeah.
You
2 hours?
You're psychotic.
Oh my God, that's so long.
I know exactly where your brain went.
I love it.
Yeah. No, 2 hours is, but you know what? Because I have to train for so much for Ironman, and the majority of training for Ironman is cycling. And so it's a very solitary sport. And it's interesting because I get made fun of by a lot of other triathletes because they're like, you train on a Peloton? Like, that's not serious, you know? And they just don't know, like the instruction that you get, as you know, if you're a Peloton member, is so amazing. And at least when I'm doing a 2-hour workout, I have entertainment. I feel like I have a friend. I have someone to kind of talk me through it. Whereas if I'm just on a bike, because really, like in LA, it's not like I'm going out on my bike all the time, right? It's not like LA is not exactly the most bike friendly city. So I am inevitably hopping on my Peloton, and it's just so much more enjoyable. I get pushed, and so I mean, I love going outside. I'll be outside on Saturday. I'll be riding all day in Malibu in the canyons. But
let's actually start there. Like you know, obviously you have entertainment, software, hardware background. But clearly you have this like incredible passion for fitness. Like, it's just, how exciting was this for you to get this opportunity? And like, how did that go down? Like, what, you know, when you stepped into the role, who contacted who, and what was your kind of first thought when this opportunity came to you?
Well, funnily enough, it's not the first time I interviewed for Peloton. So I've been trying to get in the doors of Peloton for a long time. Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. Tell us more.
I've definitely met a couple of their CMOs before in interviews. So just trying to, you know, get my foot in the door. And so I love this company. I became a member during the pandemic, like many people. And so I worked with my now boss at Apple. And so his name is Peter Stern. He's an incredible human. Anyone who's ever worked with him just has the highest respect for him as a human, because he's not only the most intelligent person that you've ever met in your life, but he is also just the most empathetic and thoughtful person. And sometimes you work with these people that are such brainiacs and they don't really understand marketing or creative or storytelling. And he is so respectful of that and the role that I play. And so it just, when he reached out to me, I had only been at Apple for like 3 years, I want to say. And most people who go to Apple, they stay there forever. And so, but the combination of him and then also this company that just aligns so much to my values, it just felt like a no-brainer. So, and obviously, Peloton, we've been working our way back as an organization, right? We've certainly gone through our own fair share of challenges, and it's fun. I like that personally. Like I love that challenge. And so when I started at Netflix, it was still a DVD company. We were not this original content. Right. And when I worked in services at Apple, that was not exactly it was an iPhone, it was an iPad. And so I like these environments where it's like, we're just trying to figure it out. And so it's been really, really fun.
Especially for like a brand that you want to see win so badly. Yeah. That's so important to you. And I feel that with Peloton. I think we're all rooting for it.
Yeah, it is actually. It's so funny because we did, I think when you're kind of looking at it from the outside, and it's hard because I really wanted to remove my bias from it, because I obviously love the product and I believe in the product, and it's helped me compete at the top of my game. Right. And so I wasn't sure, just as a consumer, whether this, like, is Peloton still a thing? Or are people still going to want to hear from us? And then when you get into the machine and you go to some of these events and you go to the classes and you see just like the fandom for Peloton, it's insane. It's wild. And there's so many supporters, and you're right. People do want to see us win. And it's so lovely. It's so nice. I feel really, really fortunate. So
has that been part of the,
do that,
For sure. Has that been part of the strategy as you're continuing to, rebuild the brand to where it was maybe during COVID, is getting people in person to have kind of that communal experience instead of just experiencing it in, your home or somewhere where they were kind of sequestered and taking these classes online?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, Haley. So yeah, it's certainly a part of it. It's a part of the strategy. I think every brand's, trying to do these pop-ups and show up IRL, and it's interesting because when I was at Netflix, I'd never done entertainment marketing before, and I really had to learn how do we market these original series, right? Like, how do we do something? And you learn about all these different tricks that entertainment companies were using, which is like these premieres. And then there were these things that you kind of like had to do, right? It was like, we have to do the premiere, we have to do the ad in these, entertainment pubs. And so what was fun about Netflix is they were just open to you doing kind of anything. And so we were like, well, we're spending money here anyways, and we don't have the budgets of HBO. So let's just like make these moments. And how do we if we have this place or this experience, how are we doing something that's just going to like make people talk about it? Right. So if we're doing like Orange is the New Black, let's like build a prison and let's,
let's put people in it. Yeah.
that looks like prisoner, and just do something that's kind of wacky and just really have fun with it. And I think, that experience taught me so much. And so now that and for those shows, people have so much love for those shows. Right. And it's so it's interesting because it's obviously very different at Peloton. It's a different product. It's a different proposition. Right.
Sure.
But you still have these people that really love Peloton and they really love their instructors. And so how can we bring that to life for people in moments that are kind of unexpected? And so, we did something around Formula One in Las Vegas. We did this event, and I was really curious as a new CMO of the company, are people going to be excited to see us here? What are they going to think about us being at Formula One? And people were over the moon, and it was crazy. And I was riding in all these shuttles because you're going in these shuttles all over the place. Yeah. And they just, you would hear people, they're like, oh, did you know Peloton's here? Did you know they have classes? They have classes here. And it was so wild to just kind of like hear the conversation. We had the classes, we had the instructors, and we recorded classes and had almost more just content that was a little different than what you normally feel on the platform. We integrated pieces of Formula One, and it looked really beautiful. The team did a great job. And it was a great indicator to me that we can do this, and people are going to be stoked to see us show up. So we are looking at more ways that we can do that, but you want to do it in a way where it's just not like your logo is not just like out there, right? Yeah. It's like how can we do something meaningful, and we bring what we call like our magic formula, right? It's our instruction, it's human connection to life. So,
so it's actually a great point, because thinking about Formula One, we're obviously going to get into the campaign and these pop-ups and things like that. You get there a year ago. You talked about your entertainment marketing experience and really leaning into culture. Mm-hmm. This brand has such, and you said it, it's got such a passionate community. The campaigns have always featured the community. And so as you come in and you're trying to untangle some of the things that have happened, over the past few years, whether you're going through the interview process or on day one, like, what are you thinking? Like, what is your sort of vision of how do we get this back to where it was and even better than ever in this new post-COVID hybrid-y, whatever you want to call it, sort of world?
Yeah. I mean, for me, because I've been a member for so long and I love the product so much, I'd seen the marketing, and I don't want to disparage any CMO in the past. I think but the thing is that I had just never felt that feeling of what it's like to use Peloton. I never saw that represented. And that's a really tough thing, right? Like, that's not just like an easy thing to like figure out how to do that. And then when I got into the door, all the initial conversations I had with people were like, we just haven't been able to tell people how it feels. So I took that as a challenge, and I came from a company that, and they were and you could tell they were frustrated. They're like, we have like we have so much love, but it's like and when you saw a lot of how Peloton was represented, it was always kind of like, you see the product, it's a little bit more demo-y, which is, fine. And you have the instructor in the screen, which doesn't read, right? Like the instructor's in screen, it reads as kind of a weird kind of unless you're a member, you don't get it.
It's to Haley's point. Like, it's like
I was just going to say, I am not a Peloton user. I've used it a couple of times because my cousin had a Peloton. And so, if I'm seeing just the kind of technicalities of it in a commercial on TV, it doesn't necessarily do much for me. Whereas when you two are talking about it, it's like you do, Megan, but it seems like Matt knows the instructors personally and has a connection with them. And I'm like,
I spend a lot of time with them.
Like, do you talk to them? I don't even know. Yeah. So I could see that because in my mind, I'm going, well, what does it feel like? Like if you had to describe it in 3
Haley,
words,
if you watch, Haley, if you watch, reality TV, you probably feel that way. I mean, the amount of conversations that, not to make Ashley Kerbel and I sound super lame, but it's a lot of it like, oh, like I could be friends with them, there's that conversation happens all over the world with these people. And I can only imagine the weird DMs that they get. But
that also,
I have definitely, there's pictures sent, there are things sent.
Oh, God.
For sure. We need all of that tea. Yeah, exactly.
But that's also what's really interesting about Peloton is you have celebrities within the brand. I mean, these instructors have, in their own right, become massively famous. And so when you're talking about bringing them to in-person events, it's like people are showing up because they also just really now want to meet their celebrity instructor, which is just a cool, extra layer that not every company has.
And that's kind of like, if you look at the history of Peloton, it acted very much as a direct response type of organization, right? And they blew up so much over COVID. So it wasn't like they really had to try hard to figure out how to build their brand. And even when we did a brand study, because we've been talking a lot about, how are we codifying our brand, how are we really thinking about it? And there was a similar exercise that I did at Netflix where we talked about what would the Netflix party look like? And the Netflix party, first of all, we asked people what the HBO party was. And the HBO party was black tie, very fancy, all these exclusive people. And then when you got to the Netflix version, it was it's like a backyard barbecue. You can wear your pajamas if you want to.
They're playing beer pong.
And the person leading the brand, I was like, oh God.
Not great. Not great.
Which is actually, but when you embrace it and when you really think about it, it's for everybody. How do you...
Right.
I was just going to say, everybody loves a hot dog. Why are we running away from it? Yeah.
And so I will say, I'm not going to name the fitness company. There was a fitness company that we kind of were talking about, and that we were asking, and they were like, "Oh, it's all wood. It's beautiful. There's maybe physicians on staff that help get your wellness journey going, And then when you ask about Peloton, they're like, "Oh, there's pedals on the machines, on the furniture. There's black
backyard
and
barbecue."
They're there's pedals everywhere, and you're like, oh God, we have work to do because, and it's not a bad place to start, right? Because people know the product and they're starting from a place of understanding the product, but then it's we have to evolve it from that, right? So how do we make people actually feel more about Peloton when they see us? And so that's something that we've been working to do.
I think it's working because for what it's worth, I actually pictured more of disco balls, fun, loud, that type of dance party situation, not backyard, anything like that. So yeah.
Well, it's a perfect opportunity then to talk about David Bowie and Hudson and the choreography and Tunde and Adrian and the new tagline, which is let yourself go. So it feels like the ultimate signal of that pivot. What would you say you were trying to say about what Peloton is becoming? And how did, going from, we want to tell people how we feel to this, can you kind of take us a little bit through how this came to be? Why choose Hudson, Williams, and David Bowie, and and all, how did this sort of come together? How did this happen?
Yeah. So Let Yourself Go, it actually began. So I started, when did I start? I started July 1st. I've been here for a year. So I started July 1st of last year. And we had a giant product launch in October. And so it was essentially one of those situations where it was like you're starting and you're hitting the ground running and you're getting this launch campaign out the door. And so we had to hustle to figure it out. And I was, we were working with an agency at the time who was great and the team had worked with and they loved them, but we weren't quite landing it. And I was looking at this creative and I knew my name was going to be on it. Right. So that's another level of pressure as the first work coming from the CMO. And I had this super, super tight timeline. And so then I started reviewing the product videos that the internal team had created, and they were beautiful and they looked elegant, and it was they were just very well done. And so I asked the internal team, I said, hey, can you take a run at this campaign? Because we're not really getting there. And the issue was that the company was, before I came on board, was trying to do all the things and in the ad, right? They were trying, and in the just in the messaging and everything, it was like we were trying. You had this like box of, let's say, all these RTBs, and they were covering everything. And so it was great working with the internal team.
Hey, Haley, reasons to believe for those who,
Megan, I'm an actor, journalist. I'm not a marketer. Matt's the marketer. I've just been in the ads. So anytime I hear an acronym, I'm like, I write it down and look it up later. But yes.
Okay, got it. So R2, so your reasons, and that happens a lot, right? In marketing is we are like, okay, well, we have to talk about this. We have to talk about this. We have to talk about this. And what I learned at the fruit company is that you can't do everything, right? And the hardest thing is simplicity. And so that had been drilled into me, and I respect that lane that you pick to drive in. And so that was something that we just didn't have the time to kind of get an agency into that mindset, but we had these folks internally that were already really producing beautiful work. And I felt like we could get there as a team because we would just kind of work and massage and try to figure out what is that lane. And so with the launch work, we launched a piece that was the Let Yourself Go version 1. And it featured this woman in her living room and just feeling herself and feeling joy. And, there are things that I probably would change and tweak. Yeah, I'm a perfectionist. And so, but it was a good way to start to articulate that idea and that feeling. And so as we started, we learned a lot in that first iteration. And so then as we started to kind of tweak things and we knew we had this other campaign coming up, I knew I wanted to try to just simplify things even more. And so that was the ambition. And the team knew this. And so we started just kind of working together, finessing. And then we knew we figured we needed talent, and we just didn't have time to get talent in the first round. It was just too fast. And so the second one was like, we needed talent, and we needed someone who was someone that could really give us that feeling of joy and like really letting that they have the ability to let yourself go. And not everyone does, right? Like they have to be very comfortable in their own skin. And so Heated Rivalry was happening. I had just watched it and I was obsessed, and everyone in the office was obsessed. And so when his name came up, it was like, I don't know if he'll do it. I just don't know. Like, it was one of those things. It was similar to Formula One, where I feel like I can be the brand's harshest critic because I really try to I'm a marketer. I'm a cynic, And so so when I heard that he loved the brand and he was excited about working with us and he loved the creative, it felt so good. And so, and everything just really worked on set. We were working with Bethany. She did the Young Miko spot from Gap, which
amazing.
Is
very good.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Speaking of Gap, shout out. They're doing an amazing job.
Yes.
They're killing it. I love everything.
So good.
And so just bought some jeans the other day. And and it was so nice to buy jeans that weren't $500. It was so great.
Amen.
I know. And so we worked with this powerhouse director. And so it was just a really nice vibe on set. And Hudson, true to form, he really worked with our choreographer so well. and was able to learn the moves, worked on the moves. They had a whole morning together, but we really only had one shoot day with Hudson. He had very limited time. We had very limited budget. And so we were trying to just kind of work through things quickly, and it just really came together. And then we had been playing the David Bowie song on set. And
I was going to ask. Yeah.
And I am a huge, I don't know, Matt, do you know that I'm a big music, I'm a huge music person.
I mean, it's not surprising, but no, I didn't know that. Yeah.
I'm a very big music person. I love going to see live music. I love living in LA. I love living in Portland, Oregon, where Haley resides for that. And so so every time we get to a new project, I'm always thinking about the music. Who's it going to be?
Yes.
Because I love that.
That's important though for the whole vibe of everything. So it's awesome that you start there too.
So underrated. Just
people don't understand.
Wildly underrated. Yeah.
You changed the entire.
I think about it when I see round one of the creative. I want to know what the music is. I want to have these two things together. And so
as somebody that loves music, do you bring your perspective, or do you ask your team? Like, how do you get to Bowie?
Oh, my team, especially after the first time we worked together, I made it very clear. I said, I am going to be a pain in the ass when I go, because buckle up. And we really went to the mat, I would say, in the first campaign, because they wanted to use the song. That was a great song, but it was being used by another brand. And I'm like, that's not, we can't do that. Like, we need to, I want to be known as a brand that really is thinking and intentional about the music, because you see it's such an afterthought for so many people, and I do think it lends so much class to a campaign.
It did feel very Apple, and I think that what I can say about Apple campaigns, as I've thought about them over the years, it's just the music does have such a massive impact. I think about like Harry Styles, just lots of and how it all comes together compositionally. It did. That actually was instinctively and it wasn't even like, oh yeah, Megan was at Apple. It just more was like it felt akin to that in a great way.
Such a
huge my gosh,
difference.
I take that as the biggest compliment. Thank you so much, because I do feel like I obviously have such high respect for that team and what they do over there. And so, and I love how they think about music so much, and it just shows. And so, it's so interesting to me how many of these brands that are spending so much money don't really prioritize it, And so it's kind of interesting. And when you're spending so much, and people are having to hear this thing all the time, it's like, no, you really need to invest. And so, so we had loved the idea of David Bowie. We had a backup. And I really didn't think it was going to be possible that we were going to be able to negotiate with his estate, because you're negotiating with his estate to get this piece. And so it just made me even nervous to be using it during the shoot, because everyone on set was vibing to the song. And
right. So they were getting connected to it. Yeah. And then if it didn't work, you're like,
Yeah. And so I know that would have been very disappointing. And so I got a call, and they were able to negotiate. We only had a very specific window for the rights and everything. And so we were able to negotiate a pretty kind of, as you do, you're like, okay, it's like these 3 months and this is how we're going to use it. And so we were able to get that song, which was such a win. And it just lended so much life and texture to that creative in a way
it's so good. And to get back to the instructors for a second, you obviously took them out of the screen and into the space with Hudson. So it sounds like that's to help it feel more akin to how people actually feel, like in their minds, in their experience, like when they almost feel like they're in the room, as opposed to Haley's point, consolidated in their little space, and wherever it is.
But and also
some people are like Peloton in closets, right? So,
but those people also can still be feeling that joy and that incredible like freedom and everything in their own, just in their own space. So it is kind of cool to just see one person on the machine, just having like the
moving around,
no cameras around type of emotions that come with when you're just having like really good day or whatever.
But Megan, do you find like how do you think strategically about the relationships with the instructors, like a Tunde, for example, who is in the campaign and now has an actual Peloton apparel line, right? Like there's obviously tremendous benefit, but similar to like a sports team, right? Where people start to get really, really into the team, but also really into the players. And maybe they became a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs because I love Mahomes, but then Mahomes, like Brady or Rodgers or whoever, ends up on another team. Do they follow the player to that other team? Do they stay cheering for the Chiefs? So like, is there like a tension there, or do you feel like, you know what, like we just have to really focus on the people who are here now that are committed to Peloton, that we absolutely love them, we support them, and no matter what, people are going to know what Peloton stands for, and that we're always going to take our instructor roster extremely seriously. Because obviously the instructors are there to really appeal to different sorts of demographics and archetypes and abilities and things like that. So what is that tension like in terms of thinking about your strategy and having these people that most brands don't in your midst?
Okay, a few things. So first of all, how dare you talk about Mahomes on a call with me from the Bay Area? I am a 49er fan.
Thank you. And I'm a Bills fan, so he can just...
Fair enough. Call. It was just what came to my head. I apologize.
And then the second thing, just really quickly, about the instructors, because it's an astute observation about the fact that we did bring them out of the screen. And there is... for those of you like the Haleys, that there is an intimacy that is so intense between you and that instructor. And I was really intent on wanting to portray that. And I wanted them very close to each other. I wanted to, because the instructors are beautiful. They're stunning. And so you look at Tunde and there's just, and I did get some questions around, well, people don't know Tunde necessarily. Not everyone knows Tunde, right? Everyone at Peloton knows Tunde. But she reads fitness, she reads instructor. And so it was a really special and cool moment when we were on set to see that happen and to see that electricity between the two of them. And so I'm really excited to hopefully play with that more, to potentially see like, okay, how can we continue bringing them out and really and focusing on them, because they're amazing talent. I mean, we have some of the best instructors, if not the best instructors in the world. And so they are somewhat, you could even argue, underutilized by Peloton. And so we can probably do a lot more with them. As far as what you're saying around a sports team, and then if someone leaves, most of our instructors have been with us for many, many years. Tunde's been with us, I think, for 9 years, Robin 14 years. Right. And so it's hard to think about someone leaving type of situation just because they've been with us for so long. And we've certainly had folks leave in the past. And I think, thankfully, Peloton offers a really great platform and exposure for them. And you could argue and with the way that they talk about it, they know this is the best the best thing in fitness, the best job in fitness when it comes to just the community, the exposure they get, how we treat them as employees. And so I feel like, I don't know, it's interesting because I've worked with talent throughout my entire career and I've never worked in fitness before. And so working with fitness instructors, I didn't know how it was going to be. And I didn't know if is this going to be a bunch of divas? Am I going to have to, and it's not like that at all. And so I think it's just like, in order to connect, especially in fitness, to such a big audience, you have to be, you can't have the attitude. You can't have that ego. You really have to let that go, because ultimately you're there to help people and help them live healthier lives. And so what I would say is that I just feel so fortunate to be in a place where not only am I working in a place that's grounded in fitness, which is my passion, but also working with people that I just saw Matt Wilpers at our All Hands, and I had a million questions for him because I'm training for this Ironman in Nice in 2 months. And I was asking him about, okay, well then I'm running the Chicago Marathon a month later. And like, how do I do this? I don't know how I'm going to do it. And he was like, okay. And so he like gave me a game plan to do it. And he genuinely wants, and I promise you, he will be texting me probably in the next week. And then like, think about this and like do the, and so
how's your VO2 max? Yeah.
I also would like to know how you're doing that.
Yeah.
So just in general, how do you do it?
You have to focus on one was the answer.
That's
and
crazy.
Then hope the other one comes together, which is the right feedback. So but it's really nice to be surrounded by these people that legitimately, I mean, they cheer me on. They get so excited about the fact that I do races. And so it's just so nice to work, just be surrounded by people that are genuinely nice people, so focused on improving other people's lives and even my life. I feel so fortunate to have that. And yeah, I know it's a really special environment. I mean, you make a good point. If someone were to leave, what would we do? I just don't think we've had to really.
Well, I will say in fairness, it is a little bit sort of like, Saturday Night Live or something like that, where you are continually, bringing in new great people as well.
Totally.
Right. And people are obviously attracted to the platform. And to Haley's point, Peloton is largely responsible for a lot of the people becoming as big as they are. So, they feel it's a synergistic relationship. Yeah.
And people certainly have their favorite instructors, but you've probably experienced this too. You have maybe your favorite, but there's also a whole handful of folks that you love.
I mean, I'm kind of obsessed with how much Ben truly just like loves EDM. And every time there's like a live DJ class, he's like euphoric, and I mean, there's so many incredible people. So I guess my next question would be, it's only been a year, so it's still early, and obviously the campaign even younger. But like, is it working? Like, are you seeing leading indicators that this is working? And based on that, we talked a little bit about IRL, getting the instructors out there and experiences and stuff like that. But like, where do you go from here? How do you take this from this level to the next level?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I tell my team and what I tell the board is that when it comes to building brands, it's brick by brick, right? Yes. And so this doesn't happen overnight. And so as much as everyone loved the Hudson campaign, they were really excited about it. We certainly saw amazingly high metrics across every single platform that we ran on. It was really, really heartwarming to see that. We saw a bunch of new follows come through. You have to continue delivering and you have to continue telling that message. And so we still have a lot of work to do. And we also have so many different modalities, right? And so I think people know us as a bike company. We were working to change that with the Hudson campaign where we featured the treadmill, but we still have a lot more work to do when it comes to people knowing us for more than just cycling, right? And so the different things that we offer with our treadmills are pretty amazing. And people do become faster runners when they run on Peloton treads. And not a lot of other treadmill companies can say that. And that's specifically because of that human connection and that coaching that we offer.
And we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. I just read the craziest stat. Over 3 billion people open fortune cookies in the US per year.
3 billion?
Billion with a B.
What? Say more about this.
And so I learned that these guys open fortune. They own the fortune cookie and they're putting brands now inside of this cookie and distributing their messaging through 100,000 restaurants, reaching 300 million people per month.
Okay, I just Googled them. They've worked with is this right? Mr. Beast, SoFi, Bayes, Duolingo, Dr. Squatch, Liquid Death, Waymo, Manscaped, Dude Wipes, Hard Rock, Verizon. I could literally go on. That's crazy.
Yeah. All of them. They're creating these amazing, what they call mini billboard moments inside of these fortune cookies, catching people at a time where they're just not expecting to see an ad. It's a really cool Trojan horse marketing idea.
I should have thought of this.
If you're interested in learning more, which you should be because this is just incredibly cool, head to openfortune.com.
Best Brands on Earth is brought to you by Tracksuit. Every CEO and CFO wants to know, what impact is brand driving for our business? And that's exactly what Tracksuit has set out to answer. Look, most brand teams are either working from stale data or stitching together proxies, Google Analytics, social numbers, the odds survey, whatever, that tell you about your existing customers, but not how the total market actually sees you. Tracksuit is continuous, monthly brand tracking. You see what's moving, what's shifting, what your competitors are doing in the category fast enough that you can actually do something about it. And the dashboard is modern, it's beautiful, it's shareable, it's the kind of thing that you'll actually be happy to open. So if you want to find out what your brand health looks like and how you stack up against your competitors in your category, head to gotracksuit.com now. Okay, I actually am going to ask something that you may or may not be qualified to answer, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Are you talking about AI?
No. I promise. No, this is like a nerdy question, but like in terms of modalities, in culture, we have just seen this even heightened obsession with health, longevity, diet, all the things. So my question is, Peloton has expanded to tread, to rowing, etc. Like, it's always been interesting to me that you've got this platform, you've been able to create these rock star instructors. Why, or maybe it is something that Peloton has thought about. Okay, why has Peloton not gone into nutrition? Why has it not established like the new food network where Peloton becomes a holistic one-stop shop where you wake up, you can meditate, you can do yoga, then you can work out, and then it can help you cook? Because what I know, at least very well, is that I can work out till the fucking cows come home. But if I'm not good on diet, right? Because I'm like really punting on the diet part, then it doesn't really work. And I think so many people fall into that camp of like, I can lift up a weight, I can get on a bike, I can, go for a run, I can do a Pilates class even, but I don't know what I'm doing in the kitchen. And I've always wondered why Peloton hasn't said, let's stand up a bunch of chefs that can help people with different cuisines or different amounts of time they have or whatever. And really holistic. And I recognize that's a massive endeavor. Sorry, that was a long-winded question.
In their body. Yeah. Yes. No, it's a great question. And what we hear from our members is we have a lot of latitude in which to play. And so we are aware that we can stretch into different areas, whether that be nutrition, hydration, what have you. And so, that is something that we're well aware of. What I would argue is that there's still a lot of stuff that's on our platform that people just don't know about, and that we need to do a better job of, first of all, just basically telling the story of what we already have that kind of goes into those areas before we stretch too far. Right. And so I think there's, and also there's teams that we need to focus, there's support. There's a lot of things that go into, if you do go into a completely new realm. Right. And so I would say that nothing's off the table, but for us, just from a communications brand marketing perspective, I feel like we acquired this company called Breathwork. And so it's all about breathing. And that is, it's such an awesome app. It's so helpful. I've started using it and I didn't realize I was breathing incorrectly and how much it can reduce your anxiety. And there's all these amazing benefits to breathwork. And so that's something that we're starting to message more. We have a ton of meditation on our service. We have, people know, some people don't. We have yoga, we have floor Pilates. So there's a lot. So there's a lot of things. And not only that, but with our weights, because with our new, I don't know how old your product is, but we have a camera, Peloton IQ, that can read form, give you form feedback, can count your reps, remembers the weights. Yeah. And so there's a lot that we currently offer that I think is potentially more aligned to what our current offering is, that we can educate people on, that kind of gives us a little bit more permission to maybe play in those areas, right? Like that would be my sense of those things, but you're absolutely right. Could we? Sure. Should we? I think that's where it's, what's the tax on the organization?
Agree to put a pin in it. No.
Never say never. And I'll say, a lot of our instructors, they do talk about their nutrition. And so we are talking to them about ways, how could we storytell more with our instructors. And that's something, like I said before, I think it's
you can experiment with content. Yeah, exactly. And see how people react on their channels and things like that. Yeah.
I do think imagine it's an untapped resource. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, no, you're fine. I have to imagine too that you've done some of those types of collaborations probably with luxury hotels that your products are in and stuff like that, because a whole portion of your business is also that, you know, your equipment shows up in some of the nicest hotels and hospitality areas around the world, which is amazing, and definitely how I've stepped on one of the Peloton treadmills and things like that. How does a marketer then take that experience that somebody has kind of randomly while they're traveling and they're busy and get them to realize that they actually loved, you know, the product that they had or that they got to try out in one of those places and get it into their home?
Yeah, so we have some hotel partnerships, and you see them at Hyatt and Hilton.
Yep.
Our products show up. And so we have talked to those companies. Are there more bespoke things that we can do when we know someone is a Peloton member? And sometimes I obviously travel a lot because Peloton's based in New York and I live in LA. And so I'm going to New York all the time. And I just stayed at a hotel where I've definitely stayed at it 10 times. And Peloton has a really nice gym, so I usually like to use that gym.
Yeah, sure.
But I was shocked they had a Peloton in there. And so had I known on one of my earlier trips, it would have been a lot easier to not have to go into the office and see everyone in my workout clothes and be able to just use the one at the hotel. So there's definitely things that we can and should be doing and hopefully will be doing. One thing that I'll talk about is you talked about the wellness aspect. And so we have been talking to, I don't know if you know the Proper Hotel in Los Angeles. Santa Monica. Yeah, it's beautiful. And so that crew over there has been fabulous. And so we've been chatting with them about, and they have Peloton, by the way, in every single one of their hotels. And they're working on really infusing, they already have been a ton of wellness throughout their hotels. And so if you go there, the menus are super healthy. The aesthetic there is just gorgeous, and it just kind of exudes wellness. And so we've been talking about doing more of a Peloton residency in LA and having some instructors come out. And so that's something that hopefully you'll be seeing soon with us, just being able to do something that's IRL, doing something that's pointing to the fact that we have things other than just cycling, right? And so we would obviously do Pilates classes, floor-based Pilates classes, weights, things of that sort. So
amazing. So as we look forward, you know, a little bit, and you know, you've come in, it's been a year now and you're established. Like, can you talk a little bit about what you have asked your team to stop doing, maybe that they were doing, and start doing, you know, like how have you kind of changed the sort of operating principles of the team? And then on the other side of it, you know, you got a shout out on an investor call from CEO. Like, what has your relationship been like with, you know, not only your boss, who you said you had a prior relationship with, but just with getting the, you know, you're the fourth person in the last X amount of years to have this role. How have you earned the trust, the respect of your peers coming in what has been a challenging seat recently?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think as far as what I told my team to stop doing is, this is just more of a pet peeve as me as a leader. I hate feeling like I'm being sold to, or a very buttoned up presentation. I consider myself someone who wants to get in the weeds. I want to figure it out. I want to help solve. If you're going to be using my time, let's figure something out together. And it's maybe a result of the change in leadership that has happened so much through the years, but I do try to avoid super polished decks. Let's just get into it. And so that's probably one of the biggest things. And that is also one of the biggest results, was moving that work internally, our above the line work, to our internal creative team. And it's resulted in huge cost savings. And I love working with agencies, but they are very expensive. And so there's a ton of value in working with agencies. We continue to work with agencies, but for some of these bigger campaigns, it's been really helpful to be able to call up the director, start talking about what we want to do, start talking about music, right? And so that's
the buy-in from the creative team has to be incredible too, when they get to really like put their hands on it and like put their teeth into it. It has to feel really good for them, I would imagine.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It has been amazing, and I think what's really special about something like that is when you can shine the light on a team or a person who's been there all along, and for them to actually feel seen, right? And so that's something that's really special. Mm-hmm. And so one of the other things was I really wanted to focus more on insights and consumer insights and what our consumers have been thinking about. And so that was an organization that was kind of off on the side, and I made sure it was reporting directly to me. It was really important for me to make sure that insights are driving everything that we're doing, right? If we're making a decision, how are our members going to feel? How are potential customers going to feel? And so that's been super effective. Also, we are trying to sell product at the end of the day, and so we spun up more of this pricing team, and I would say that's something that really, it wasn't my grand idea, but it came from my boss, who I respect heavily, and so that was a great partnership between the two of us, where we were able to produce that. And then what I will say is that it's a bit of a mixed bag when you come into an organization. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what the talent's going to look like. Sure. And we have, when it comes to media buying, when it comes to optimization, when it comes to reporting, when it comes to email, text, those types of things, member communications, right? I was shocked. Peloton is amazing. I mean, it's up to the level of, I always thought Netflix was the golden god of many things, right? Because they have these really tight, smart, super tight teams. And so it's been so neat coming into Peloton and just realizing that we've had this super, super top tier talent. And so I've been, I've just loved coming on board and just being able to work with these teams and really get into it and make sure that they're getting the visibility that they need. And I think it's been hard for them because they have had, like I said, they've had a lot of changes in terms of management. So yeah, it's been fun. And then what was the other part of your question? Just
as you come in as a chief marketer at Peloton and you need to establish credibility and relationships with your C-suite peers. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And that's always so tricky. And that's always something where it's so hard to leave roles because you have your peeps and you have your homies that you can just call up and so then you have to go in and just kind of, reestablish yourself. And so what I would say is that obviously I've known my CEO, and so that certainly helps. But it did take work at the beginning to make sure that even for my own team, it's not like you get to talk a lot about what you do when you work at a company like Apple, right? And so and you don't necessarily get the credit, right, at that organization. And so I think that it took some time. The first campaign people were excited about, but obviously when the Hudson Williams thing hit, it did feel like the entire organization really did think about the power of marketing in a different way. And so that's such a special moment because I feel really, really fortunate because I've been able to have these amazing moments in my career, whether it be with The Crown, shows like that, or Orange is the New Black, or Gilmore Girls. You have these these days where the campaign just hits so big and you go to bed and you wake up the next day and you're like, did that really happen? Like it was so magical, right? And so it was so neat to have that moment with my team at Peloton. So, because I think you can tell, I just adore them and they're so good at what they do. So
that's
very
awesome.
Special. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What does if you just hit your 1 year anniversary, when you hit your 2 year anniversary, what do you hope Peloton looks like? Like you obviously have gotten a lot done within a year. So, and you seem like a competitive person within yourself, even in a good way. That's a compliment in a good way. Anyone that can finish a friggin' Ironman. So like, what are you expecting?
I will say
yourself
off camera,
to be able to...
Megan did talk about wanting to be at the top of the leaderboard for an in real life Peloton class, where she was like, I'm going to win this thing. I love
guess what? I did not win.
Guess what? She did not, because there is somebody that's even wilder than Megan. So I love it.
Yeah, I really did think I was going to be in the top of the leaderboard.
I'm going in. I'm aiming for top third every time. Just get me into that top third.
That is actually me. I just try to get into the top third of classes.
Yeah.
So I'm the same boat. Yeah. So great question. As far as where do I want to see things from a year from now? I think I believe so much in this brand, and I do feel like it's hard because I tell people I work at Peloton and they're like, oh, are they okay? Like, are they doing okay?
Yeah.
Pandemic. And people forget that we are the biggest force in fitness that's out there. And we have the most beloved and most talented instructors on the planet. And arguably the most incredible and diverse fitness instruction that's out there. We're producing over 1,000 classes a month, right? Like it's a ton of content. And so Peloton is very much still a force. And so my goal is hopefully in a year from now, no one is questioning that, right?
Yeah.
They're
you don't
saying,
get that response anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. I would love for that. If we could try to, at least maybe half the amount of people that I talk to are saying that, right? Like you can't.
No, I love it. Shoot for the moon. People are responding in a different way.
I would love to see that. That would be great. And then also, I think like I said, we're starting to foundationally build our brand and build our approach to communications. And so I would love to just be known as, when people talk about their favorite brands and their favorite marketing, right? There's the obvious ones. There's the Apple, there's the Nike. I would love for Peloton to be a part of that.
Yeah. So, and what keeps you up? Like what do you think what's in your way to getting there eventually?
Oh gosh. I think there's nothing that concerns me as far as getting in the way, because I do believe in our product and I believe into what our service offers. I think what keeps me up generally is the pressure that I put on myself to execute at a high level. And so that's the hardest thing. It's just that self-judgment and that self-talk, right? And so I think we all have a level of that. And so I'm constantly looking at work and just wondering, is this better? Can we do it better? Can we be smarter? Can we be more simplistic in our messaging? Right. And so that's something that I'm always kind of, and even the Hudson campaign, there were little nits that I was like, we didn't quite get that. Like there
was nothing wrong with that campaign. Yeah. That campaign was beautiful. Don't think about it for another second. He winked and we all were like, done.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, we appreciate real talk and that, everybody has that degree of not imposter syndrome, but I think we put, imposter syndrome, yes, but also just the pressure that we put on ourselves to perform.
Yeah.
And I think that doesn't ever go away. So refreshing to hear from somebody
You can help it with breathwork.
Yes.
Which Peloton offers.
You
meditation and yoga. And,
yes.
All things Peloton offers. Oh,
yes. Oh my goodness.
And I would say the other thing is just we want to really make sure that we keep our members happy. And that's the other thing that I think a lot about is like that our members are our guide. And so a lot of stuff, I get a lot of questions like, oh, are you worried that these edgy campaigns are going to alienate you? And I'm like, no, I think they love to see us show up in this way. And so
it's actually, it's a great point. I mean, Heated Rivalry was a phenomenon, but it certainly was a certain type of show and
yes.
and
what do you mean? Just kidding.
Yeah. No,
tell us why.
Look, I mean, there's so many. No, but it's true. I mean, Peloton has always had such an incredibly beautiful and diverse roster of people. You have amazing instructors from the LGBTQ plus community. You have people of all different colors and abilities and catering different people abilities. I love when the instructors are like, oh, like you can adjust it this way, or, if you're somebody that's, a senior and, you're wrestling with this, like it's super inclusive. And so, that's not surprising. Really not surprising that you would take that risk because you've always, the brand, well before you always showed all kinds of different people on their bikes or, in their spaces. trying to just be their best. Yeah.
I think that's what's so lovely about it is I'll take the same class as my sister, who is certainly not an Ironman, and it's awesome because we will do the same one and feel this togetherness, right? And that's something that you can't really like. I go out for runs. I have a run club, but it's neat to be able to share that moment with someone, you know.
Totally, and also, when I was at Turo, we used to celebrate each other's milestones by being like, "Oh, my milestone's coming up. Do you want to ride with me, or do you want to do this class with me?" And we would do it. We'd do it live, and then basically we'd come to work a whole sweaty mess or whatever, and talk about it. It'd be cool, you know. It's like, and it's as if we did it together, you know. And that I think is really this very cool magical thing. We're getting. Oh, go ahead, Haley.
I was just gonna say we have this.
Oh, go ahead.
Well,
I was
two things.
I did a FTP class with someone the other day, and that was like, it was intense. It killed me, but it was so nice to have someone else because it was like we are both doing this, you know.
Totally.
So, yeah, it's very special.
It's fitness is always better when somebody else is dying next to you.
Absolutely,
it's just so much better. So two things. We're going to get to a segment that we like to call Crumbs of Wisdom. But I don't know, for anybody else that's watching this on YouTube or that will be watching this, I don't know if anyone has noticed that there is a man that has been behind Megan in that palm tree. And they are like cutting down palms this entire
chopping palms.
And I keep seeing them falling, and I'm going, God, is it windy? Like maybe that tree is just falling apart.
It's like right there.
And then I finally saw him, and he's just hanging on that tree, cutting him off. I just had to throw that out there because I know somebody else is noticing too.
Hi, Jimmy.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. If it seems like I'm staring.
I was like, where is that? Why do they keep falling? Okay, they're cutting it on purpose. Amazing.
The world's smallest Mowgli in the background.
He does. He looks just so tiny.
I know people are always like, "Oh, where are you?" Oh, LA. Yeah, I have a little tree house in LA.
Not New York.
It's so cool.
That is a palm tree.
I love it. No, it's beautiful. The whole background's stunning. I just kept noticing. It was like, what in the heck is going on back there? And I have had questions about whether this is me in the picture, and I'm like, who do you think I am? Like, am I really going to put pictures of myself in a bathing suit behind me? So funny. No, so it is a Flamarens print, and it's not me. And by the way, I've had 2 kids. I don't look like that. So. I beg to differ. Your arms are beautiful, and you do all sorts of crazy workouts, and so I would guess that's
crushing it, Mama.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. Okay, our next segment we call Crumbs of Wisdom. It's presented by Open Fortune. If you don't know Open Fortune, they are an advertising platform that actually turns fortune cookies into a really effective brand touch point. They have over 100,000 restaurants that their cookies are coming out of.
Oh, wow.
They reach like 300 million people a month to create these kind of surprise and delight moments, which is really cool. So they have sent over fortune cookies. We don't know what questions are in them. There's a question for you in one of them, and Matt's going to pick a good one.
Now I'm exciting. Cookie. But it's nice because you never ignore your fortune. You know, the fortune tells you what to do with your life. And in this case, it will tell you to answer a question, Megan. And this is the surprise and delight is that I have no idea what this is going to say. So,
this is so exciting.
Existential. No. Okay. Ooh, I like this one. Okay. What's the idea you keep defending that fewer and fewer people agree with?
Oh, God. Let's see. What would that be? I feel like that would be like a personal preference around like my musical.
Okay. That's fine. It doesn't necessarily have to be over.
What's the spicy hot take? What's your
I don't know if it's a spicy hot take, but I think Hall & Oates is an underrated band. Not brand. Yeah. And Daryl Hall's an amazing musician. And so I tend to get into that argument quite a bit.
I wonder if fewer and fewer people agree because they ended up hating each other. But I did walk out after being married to Hall & Oates for sure.
You did?
To You Make My Dreams Come True. It was so fun.
There's so many.
Yacht rock forever, man. You know.
I know. It's so funny.
Megan's like, I found my people.
I know. People are always shocked. They're like, you like Hall & Oates? And I'm like, yeah, I think they're great. Yeah.
You're like, you don't?
But musically, Daryl Hall is amazing. And so
They're
I do.
Incredible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my edgy. But yeah, as far as work stuff goes, I don't know. I feel like I lose a lot on things because there's always, yeah. You know,
that's okay.
Everywhere. I work with smart people. So it's like, it's fine. Yeah.
That's right. Debate is
That's
important.
good. Never want to be the smartest in the room. That's boring.
No.
Never. No.
All right. Well, second last question. And I'm going to caveat this. Okay. You can't say a company you've worked at because you've worked at some of the best. But if you are looking at brands, can be any category. What is a brand that you look at that, you know, is absolutely amazing with their community, that inspires you, that you really look to learn from?
Well, she mentioned Gap earlier.
Oh yeah, Gap is a great one for sure.
You can't answer Gap again. Really.
Shout out to Fabi and Damon and that whole crew for sure.
Yeah. I think that, so I'm a big runner. That's that's kind of my star event, let's say, when it comes to triathlon. That's where I'm strong. And so I did an ultra marathon in February, and I follow the running community pretty closely and all the running brands really closely. And I think the relaunch that Nike did of ACG this year, like I do think it's so, and I hate to just say Nike because everyone says Nike, but I think this specifically is so interesting because you have a lot of these runners that don't like Nike and they don't use Nike. And they're very much like, the ultra running community is pretty tight. And so I do think what they've done with the orange and the crazy all conditions gear and people showing up with all the radical airflow stuff is so smart. And they've been able to do it in a way that's like a little kind of like, it could be like a little off-putting, I think, but it's just so cool that you and the top pros are wearing it.
It makes you want to try it for sure. I like that. I like that contrarian answer. I think that's really thoughtful.
And you have to be in the community for any of that stuff to take off. Like you really
Nike's coming back, but it's a new day.
It's interesting though, as somebody that lives in the household.
Yeah, you live there. You live in
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. I wear ACG stuff all the time as lifestyle, just clothing, because I find it so cool. It's like, it looks amazing, even though I'm not doing like any of the crazy, running things that I would need them for. But like, I can look cute when I go on my normal 3-mile hike.
You know what? And another one is Arc'teryx. Like Arc'teryx is
awesome too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the one that I wear. And I'm like, I'm not climbing mountains, but I wear those like nylon pants that they have. I wear them every flight. I wear those, and everyone inevitably, people always compliment me.
I ran in Hoka's before it was cool. Okay, so
Same.
You're like, oh Matt, how are your ankles and back? They're fine, thank you.
Yeah, your shoe shows it. The bottoms of them are like this big.
We used to call them big countries. Yeah, they're just the biggest.
So I think run in Hoka's, is that still
I do. Just because I just love running on clouds. It's just really nice.
It's like every year you get older, you add just a tiny bit of foam to the bottom of your shoe.
Yes, I'm sure if I ran an absurd more amount of miles like Megan does, that I would consider.
I mean, I have a pair of Speed Goats on the floor next to me right now, so I do like Speed Goats. I love the On trail shoes are incredible.
Yeah.
Nike for speed, for road, it's hard to beat. Yeah. Like they're really good.
On is another brand that's been fantastic, and just how they've built that, amazing.
On is really good. Yeah, they're very, very good. Their experiences are pretty cool. So I just think I think running is so interesting to me now because I've run my entire life and I've always been the biggest dork. And people are like, "Oh, you're going for a run? Are you going for a run, Megan?" And so then now I go on run, and like running is like the coolest thing, and there's the coolest stuff for it. And it's kind of cycling too. They have like cool bibs and everything you can wear now. And so it's just, it's kind of funny. Like even going to like New York now and I go for a run, it feels like you're running a race because there's so many people on the West Side Highway. It's bananas. Whereas before, when I used to live in New York and run on the West Side Highway in the morning, I'd be one of 5 people.
They were just catching up to you. You're like, come on, I'll wait. I'll wait till you come around to this. How cool this really is. Yeah. Yeah. Now you're going from, oh, are you going for a run? To like, oh, are you going for a run? Can I come? Can I come?
No, it's pretty incredible. So, all
right. Well, Haley, hit her with our last big audacious question.
Oh, let's hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge, and I'm sure you never saw it coming. But why is Peloton one of the best brands on earth?
Oh gosh, so many reasons. What I would say is that, there's not a lot of brands that you can say to people and you can say the name and their eyes just light up and they get so excited and it turns into a 10-minute conversation. And look, I know that's not with everybody. I know that's with a select, but those folks are so important and they're so powerful for our brand. And I don't think that the Hudson ad would have taken off like it did. I knew it would have taken off, obviously, but having that community and those cheerleaders for our brand is so incredible. And so it's really nice being in a brand and working in a brand that just really gets people going, and you see that eye light up moment is very special.
Changed my life. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, and working for a brand that's ultimate goal is to get people healthier is not a bad thing either.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Mind, body, and soul. For sure.
I really had no idea because I work in tech and entertainment. And so to do this, it's like, it's a whole, and then you're surrounded by people at the office day in and day out who are really there for the same mission. And so you have people who have been at Peloton forever and they do it just because of that. So it's pretty neat. Yeah.
Amazing. Love it.
Awesome.
Well, we so appreciate your time. This was such a great conversation.
Oh my gosh. So nice to meet you, Haley. Huh?
You too.
We knew it would be fun. Yeah.
It was so fun. It was so great. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
And congrats on your first year.
Out of my workout clothes really quickly before.
I know. Yeah. Here's.
That's incredible. Without context, if someone's not listening, it just looks like you're flashing the camera. And I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did go off camera.
Yeah. But here is to your two, and best of luck. And we're all so excited to see what comes next from Peloton. And I'll see you on the leaderboard later.
I'll see you on the leaderboard.
Well, you obviously knew Megan beforehand.
I
just met her. We could have talked and bantered before we ever even started that conversation for like hours. She's so much fun.
There's so much cutting room floor that none of you will ever hear, but
she's just so impressive. Her, her personal endeavors in fitness is like, oh my God, those people are so inspiring. Do I ever think that I'll do an Ironman? No. But is that like the most inspiring thing ever? Yes.
Yeah. No.
So that one was super cool. My other big takeaway that I thought was really interesting is, I've talked to a lot of CMOs now, and so I've learned some things, but I always love to hear these CMOs that are crazy accomplished and have worked at all of these like massive companies straight up, come out and say, one of my first initiatives was not wasting our time with like crazy professional decks and things because nobody needs that shit. Like nobody needs that shit. If we have good ideas and they come to me on a written piece of paper, like why do I care if it was that or if it was in this deck that had graphics and all sorts of stuff? Like it doesn't matter. So it was cool to hear that from somebody so accomplished in their career.
For sure. I just appreciate the subtleties of like coming in and really hearing her team say like people don't understand how Peloton feels, and like if you watch the past campaigns, like, well, what do you mean? Like they're on their bikes, they're working so hard, they're the instructor is giving them instructions, but it's the nuance.
I get it though, as somebody that's
translate it.
Yeah, as somebody that's not a current Peloton user, like that made sense to me actually, because the conversations that even you two were having, and I said this, in the show, it was a different like connection level that you had that I was just kind of like, yeah, I mean, I don't totally get it because I just haven't done it before. So
well,
I get that.
When it becomes so product focused, it's kind of like Peloton is like on an island over here. And I think that, you know, they've done historically a lot of stuff in product to integrate with culture. And obviously they've taken some swings and there's been some missteps and stuff. But I think that this attempt and successful attempt, and I'm sure what they will do in the future. And also she talked about F1 and you know, the residency in LA that she wants to do with her team. Being able to tie to culture in a way where Peloton adds value every single time. And also, you know, she said that question with the F1 thing or with Hudson Williams, like, oh, are they going to want us here? Right? That should, I think it's to go from, are they going to want us here, from, of course they do. Like, that's the shift that she's trying to achieve with her team, which is going from a like, oh, I don't know about Peloton, you know, like to
like she said, people, the response to her is like, ooh, is Peloton doing okay?
And like, you know, whenever the Nikes of the world show up anywhere, people are like, yeah, what, like, awesome. How's Nike activating? Like, that's so cool. And it's the same with that F1 thing. It's
interesting because Nike has the same problem right now. Like, anytime someone talks to us about Nike, it's, ooh, Nike's had a really rough couple of years, but you're still not going, I'm never going to like buy Nike again. It's the same with Peloton. Obviously, they still have an incredibly loyal user base and fan base, but people are having like the narrative has just switched. And so that needs to be.
But it's interesting that reworked. Megan said, you know, she doesn't really have anything she worries about. And I think that is an insightful thing to hear, because to me, that reads like it's really us against ourselves. Like, if we just get out of our own way and we don't create, you know, some sort of media narrative that messes with this momentum that we're creating for ourselves, like, we can get to the top of the mountain and then some, you know.
One thing that I didn't ask, because I don't think she would necessarily have the answer, or, you know, like, not necessarily something she can talk on, but I would love to know, of the last 4 CMOs, not including her, how many of them were also so ingrained into fitness and into exercise personally? Because I do feel like her love of, you know, exercising and running and taking care of her body and, you know, whatever, changes how somebody can perform at that job.
Sure.
So yeah, I'd love to know, like,
and they probably all were, but they probably all were, but
I would think that's like a prerequisite.
But they were probably not Iron women.
Iron men. Yeah, that's true. You'd think it would be a prerequisite for.
Yeah, but it is, to your point, it's contagious. It's palpable with her for sure. And I will just say, it's, as somebody that you know, had some you know, some health complications a few years back, and use Peloton almost daily. It's not every day that like I am so rooting for a brand so hard, because it has really changed my whole life in such a positive way. And I do feel like I know the instructors because I spend so much time with them in my body, in my head. Right. So I really love that it's Megan. I think that she's the right person for the right moment. And I just love that episode because, you know, they've had a rough go, but I really hope that this turnaround is the start of a true turnaround, and they can be a brand that people just absolutely love and adore, and hopefully in the future Peloton can do no wrong and just continue to help people's lives be healthier and happier. So this was awesome. And
we hope you all enjoyed it. And you can find us everywhere at Best Brands on Earth, or on our YouTube channel at BBOE, and find us on LinkedIn. We have lots of conversations there. And as always, let us know what brands you think are the best on Earth and what you'd like to have on the show.
Yes, please. And please subscribe. Make sure that you don't miss our show, whether it's on Spotify or on YouTube or Apple or wherever it is that you are listening or consuming this or watching us right now. Otherwise, you can always follow us on our socials. And we can't wait until next week. We got another awesome one coming for you. So as we always say, see you next Tuesday, Haley Clover.
We do not say see you next Tuesday.
We
Did
don't.
You just call me the C word, Matt? Just kidding.
We've never said that. Okay. Yep. Nope.
Wait, that's incredible. Maybe we need to use it.
Yeah. See you next.
Oh my God, you just got it?
Oh.
Guys, yeah, it's okay. We'll leave you with that. Enjoy.
Bye. Best Brands on Earth is a podcast from the Cleos, hosted by Haley Clover and Matt Kerbel. Produced by Third Wall Creative. Original music for BBOE composed and produced by Brett Turner and Ian Walters. This has been Best Brands on Earth. Until next time.